In this sports Photoshop tutorial, we're going to learn how to take these pictures and turn them into this game day graphic for the Warriors. This is one of the only tutorials on YouTube that will actually give you the assets in the actual video so that you can walk through the design process with me step by step. So after you've downloaded the assets from the description, you should have a folder that looks something like this. The background of your design might be the most important part of your graphic, so you're not going to want to miss this part. You're going to take the PNG labeled step 1 and drag it into your canvas. Once you've done that, you're going to insert the two PNGs labeled step 2 and step 3. These are your textures and overlays that are going to go on top of your arena layer. You want to make sure your background layer, which is the arena, is below the two PNGs. We are then going to change the blend mode of the displace layer to exclusion. And once we decrease our opacity of the background layer, you can now see the textures that we just put into the design. Then want to take out the color of the arena in the background. This can be done by hitting the new adjustment layer and going up to hue and saturation. Now we're going to decrease our saturation. Next, let's put in the Warriors patch, the chain link fence, as well as Draymond Green. If you look at the picture of Draymond Green, it's actually cut off on the bottom. So we're going to want to smooth out these edges. You can do this by selecting your layer and hitting the mask button. And once you have your mask selected, you can now paint black onto the mask to erase the bottom part of Draymond Green. Now let's insert the tape as well as our two logos. You can resize these logos to however you see fit. And of course, the rest of the player images can be placed inside the canvas, and we're going to come back to those later. Let's put in our game day text. We're using the text Akira Expanded, and this can be found within the folder that you guys downloaded in the beginning of the video. If you're not familiar with downloading fonts, it can be done by double clicking the font and hitting install. Once you have the text in the design, let's make a couple of adjustments. Hit the effects button and you guys can pause the video as needed. I made a bunch of adjustments to a couple things: drop shadow, stroke, bevel, as well as texture. In addition, I wanted the tape and logos to be on the top of my game day text, so I took the tape layer and I moved it all the way to the top of my layers. And for the verses layer, I added a drop shadow and I changed it to the color black and reduced the opacity and size. In addition, I added a stroke and that same texture that we use for the game day text. Alright, this is one of my favorite parts of this video. We're going to learn how to take these PNGs and we're going to make it look like this. First, with our layer selected, go to filter, then camera raw filter. Once we are in camera raw, crank up clarity and texture. I also made a couple other adjustments that if you really wanted to look at, you can rewind or even pause the video and make those same adjustments. This is my before camera raw filter, and here's my after. But we're not done yet. We want them to be black and white. So let's add a new adjustment layer and go to hue and saturation and decrease our saturation. This makes your image less bright, so we're going to head back into camera raw filter and we're going to adjust the exposure as well as clarity. Hit OK, and now we're starting to look a little bit better. Alright, click on the second layer of Draymond, go up to camera raw filter, and we're going to increase our contrast, clarity, and texture. Now, duplicate your layer by either pressing Command J, or you can control click on it and hit duplicate layer. Next, go up to filter, other, and then high pass filter. This is a really unique way to add a little bit more clarity to your image. Once you have your filter applied, you can go to blend mode and then choose either hard light or soft light. It really depends on your image, but if you guys are following along with these PNGs, I'm going to use soft light. Another really helpful tip to adding contrast to your player images is to create a black and white adjustment layer and put it on the blend mode soft light. If the effect is too strong for you, reduce the opacity to around 20%. One of the cool parts of this design is making the skin black and white and leaving the jersey blue. This can be done by creating another black and white adjustment layer, and once you have the mask selected, press Command I to invert your mask. Then we're going to paint back on the black and white effect with the white paintbrush. If you guys are enjoying today's video, please feel free to drop a like for me. It really helps out the channel and it shows you guys like this type of video. Because the black and white effect makes your image darker, you're going to go back into camera raw filter and then adjust the exposure and clarity just like we did for the image before. Something I don't want to forget is these two logos. You want to add a small drop shadow as well as a bevel to each of them. This quick adjustment really helps your logos fit into the design better. If you have any questions about anything I've done so far, leave me a question in the comments. I guarantee I respond. Alright, for the last Draymond, we're going to do the same adjustments that we did for the previous images, so I won't waste your time re-explaining the different adjustments. For those of you that are interested, you can find the PSD for this exact design on my Patreon. I also drop a lot of things like graphics packs, fonts, and a bunch of other things on my Patreon, so please feel free to check that out. A link will be in the description. But one part that is extremely important is color correction. Because you're making all these adjustments to camera raw filter, the blues in the image don't match. As it stands right now, the two images have two different shades of blue. This can be solved by creating a new adjustment layer and going to selective color. Once you're in selective color, go to the color blue and you can make different adjustments to the blues as well as the cyans. What I do is I slide them left and right just to see what it looks like. This is the before and here's the after. Sometimes shadows make or break a design. I've seen some great graphics ruined by bad shadows, so let me show you how I personally do them. I add a layer below my player image and I go to my paintbrush. Next, I leave the paintbrush on the hardness of 100 and I just adjust the shape of the paintbrush. I usually add 3 different layers of shadows. The first layer is what you're seeing right now. It's right below the shoe. The second layer is a little bit bigger, resembles the legs. The third is the biggest and it resembles the entire body. After you've placed your black dot, you can go up to filter, blur, and add a Gaussian blur. Click on the very last layer. Next, scroll all the way up to the top layer and hold down Shift. What this will do is select all of your layers. With all of your layers selected, press the following buttons: Shift, Alt, Command, and E. Now you can resize your layer and insert the background that I have created for this design specifically. And with that, you're done. I'm considering making this my new format for videos where I give you guys the assets for the entire video and you can walk through step by step with me. If you guys think that's a good idea, please leave a like for me and leave me a comment saying that I should do that. And as always, stay great. I'll see you guys in the next video.